Hi, you're listening to 91.1 The Avenue. My name is Ann, and this is The Avenue's Mile of Music coverage, made possible with support from Nicolet Bank and U.S. Venture. Additional support comes from Dodd Home Safety. Dodd Home Safety performs home safety assessments, provides and installs the recommended equipment, and trains everyone on how to keep loved ones safe and independent in their own homes. More information at doddhomesafety.com. Today I'm joined in studio by John Pearson of the Short Pay Riders. So John, welcome back. This is your second Mile of Music.
It is.
And for those who may not be familiar, although we have featured the Short Pay Riders on the August Haven live stage, and you can certainly hear your songs in our playlist, you are based, Short Pay Riders in general are kind of Wausau based.
Yeah, that's kind of where we put it together.
And but you are in Chicago.
I am. I live in Chicago.
Talk about how, first of all, tell us who is in the Short Pay Riders these days and how you came together.
Short Pay Riders are me, Harold Mello, who's from Wausau area, Jordan Miles. Harold is a multi-instrumentalist, plays a lot of guitar, and of late more keyboards. Jordan Miles is a bass player, terrific keyboard player, and Lucas Fisher on drums. And we met just kind of hacking around Wausau. I was in this moment a few years ago where I was sort of obnoxiously introducing myself to musicians and saying, hey, would you consider doing something with me? I've got some stuff I want to hear with other players, and those guys took the bait.
I love that. The idea that you were, I don't know, you probably met them in Wausau. Were you splitting your time a little bit?
Yeah, I had a home there at that time.
And just, looking for guys to play with, and the collaborative nature of the area is really cool. You guys sound great together.
Oh, thanks.
It's a good fit. So these are your songs. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
And you found yourself a really nice backing band.
I did, and they're fun to work with. They're terrific musicians, and I've worked with a few other guys. I mean, I think the first guy sucked into the idea was Eric Uvinen, who's plays with Feed the Dog among others, and we've worked with a few guys based on who's available. But there was a probably still is a core of musicians there at the time. I really walked into a great situation for guys who were willing and able. And we sort of booted this up around COVID.
Right.
And so that gave us a lot of time to kind of work together. I wasn't competing with their regular bands to the degree I might have been later as well. So there was time, there was opportunity. There was a core of great players in the area. And so this idea kind of got out of hand. It was originally, I'd like to hear what other musicians might add. And then it was, well, we should record some of this. And let's not just do demos, let's do it properly. And, well, let's play some shows. So 3 years later, we're at our second mile, and our second record is hopefully on the way this fall.
I know that we're playing the first single off of that album on the Avenue right now. And you mentioned that your second album is a slightly different sound than the first time around. How is that? What's the direction?
I think the first record was intentionally us saying, "Oh, let's make a Western," sort of a rock band trying to make a Western themed piece of work. This one, I would think of it as more of a noir. It's not. It doesn't have the Western affects. It's more of a rock record, although I wouldn't say it's particularly heavy. It's got some heavy spots, but it just sounds a little different. You don't have as much of the slide influences. And of course, we are who we are. We're sort of anchored by the way I write and sing. Harold is a really gifted slide player. Some of those things are always going to appear, but I'd say this record is more, we sort of embrace a lot more tools, pedals and sounds that we've conjured to go with this rather than maybe a more straight up, what I would think of as a Western sound that we did on the first record.
It's great that you were able to connect with these guys and bring your songs to life. Did you have these songs for the first album laying around just looking for the right players, or do you write together with the band now?
The way I describe it is I sort of bring in a pencil sketch. The lyrics, the chord progressions, the vocal melody, and then it gets animated by the players. I'm not really, I don't have the whatever it would be to tell people who are a lot better than I am how to play. So I sort of want to see what comes of their ideas and their thought process.
We're going to call that you're a great collaborator.
Yes, yeah, clearly. But it's fun to hear what happens, though. So I sort of bring in an idea that's, it's somewhat defined, but it has a lot of room for colorization, if you will, or more than that, just textures and things that happen. And what's interesting about the group now is that everybody has got opinions on arrangements, and we're a little unique anymore in that we are very arranged. We definitely have a specific way we want to present the songs on recordings, and not always the same, but also live. And even Lucas behind the drum kit he's a trained jazz musician. All of these guys understand theory and have opinions about sounds, and almost more so than I do. I sort of show up with this rudimentary.
So you played your first Mile of Music last year. What was your experience, and what are you going to bring to your second Mile?
I'd like to think we have a greater command of our live sound just because we've been doing more of it. What's interesting about Mile, first of all, you feel really a part of something as a player here. I mean, no matter, it's so well organized. It's such a welcoming event. It's the first and maybe only time you really feel like, you're, at least if you're at my level, that you're in a thing, right? It's, you got the little lanyard, and the people are so helpful. And
I think our friend Jamie Kent would say you feel famous in Appleton.
A little bit, you do, yeah. And last year we learned too, we were sandwiched between a couple of Nashville bands on our first set. And so we were still kind of getting acclimated to what it is to play on. I think this was the courtyard at the hotel.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting environment for us. And I learned a ton. You set up in a hurry, you're not sound checking to any great extent. You're sort of plug in and go and
make the best of it.
And you do. But what I learned from those other bands was just, I could be guilty. I won't speak for the guys, but I could be guilty of playing those songs that last night, whereas the bands around us really performed theirs. They really meant business as far as that presentation is concerned. And so the second show we had last year, that was more my approach anyway, is that now these songs are going to be performed. And I hope we brought that to every show since.
Well, I know audiences enjoyed you last year. We've enjoyed having you on the Avenue stage. He is John Pearson. They are the Short Pay Riders. They are here Friday only. Find out where they're playing using the Mile of Music app or a Mile of Music printed schedule. You can find those at the PAC downtown and around in general, but Short Pay Riders. We hope you catch them. Will you play us something for our listening audience?
I will.
And tell us, what are you going to play? The
song is called Forwarding Address. I think it'll be track 2 on the new record.
Okay, great. You'll get your first listen.
You'll get the pencil sketch version, and when the record comes out, it'll sound a little different.
And John is here solo, so it's the pared down. It's the pared down version.
I found a place on the east side, past the old savings and loan. I can't decide if I might have guessed or I should have known. Desk in the corner, thrift store chair that don't quite fit. Will the storm outside leave the radio on? The lamp's still lit. Ain't sure what I got left, but what's more, these old dreams are about as warm as the finish on this floor. You can stare at the ceiling all night long, but the check won't clear today. Add up everything that's gone while the rest of it slips away. Sealed and signed, there's a way forward. can't seem to find. I got your letter, it found its way to this address. It's hard to deny what I've already confessed. Nevertheless, I'm at a loss, I can't seem to pay what my mistakes have cost. Sealed and signed, there's a way forward. Sealed and signed, there's a way forward I can't seem to find.